So Common Sense left the building when influencers, well, actually, it left when Obama got into office. And he started doing weird stuff with different countries like the Middle East and giving our resources and our energy and education to the Middle East. Example is how Mona Van is in the position that she's in. He made a deal with her rich-ass family, and look at her now. So Gary Vee went and infiltrated that shit and did a really good job pretending. And in the beginning, I told everybody everything that was going along all the way, but she still made you think that it was actually happening. That's called slavery. That's how the Middle East created slavery. What you want to understand is that women and people, you have to care what people think in order to do right by people. It's like common sense to know when you're supposed to care what people think and when not to care what people think. However, because you are all competing with LA and Hollywood, they don't have an ethical or moral compass. So women in Minnesota or Utah started acting like women from LA and are violating us as audience. And they think they're winning in the game because Shu Chu, a communist, is fueling that as a new norm of parenting, of womanhood, which is why they started the conversation around what's a woman. So any human being in this country of the United States of America, and any other country, as a matter of fact, you encounter people in life and you have an experience of exchanging conversations of communication. However, these communications with these people on these influencer platforms are all one-sided, and they're all based off looks and the fact that they're unreachable, meaning I literally have produced thousands of pieces of content to expose them. And it's still looking as if my content's never going to go viral, which then actually fuels them to produce more content. In a logistic, common sense world, is that ethical or is that moral or is that appropriate behavior when you're trying to educate people on forgiveness? So you're educating people on health and wellness and meditation and yoga and designing your life. And Valeria and Melissa Wood and Mona Van have completely ignored my 1,000. This is not like I produced one piece of content and walked away. No, I've shown up at VCon 2022 where they instigated war with me without me even knowing it. Peg Moore was the evidence that we all need to take a look at as to what these women were willing and capable of doing while calling themselves girl boss. Well, I produced over 88 pieces of content that weekend while Mona Van produced one. While she abused all of you, including Snoop Dogg, at least she tried. All props and plants to expose all of you women, specifically those of you in the abundance numbers of Middle Easterns who decided to show up at VCon 2022 and brag about going to the Fly Fish Club event. See, that's not how appropriate American business professionals operate. They only operate to say who's who of, like in the book, Who's Who in America, of where you're going. So look where I am. Look at who I'm with. Look how rich I am. And then that's called business. And they dangle fake friendly in your face that you too one day can to keep you coming back for more. Oh, I just wanted to give a shout out to the couple that had got engaged, which was a message to me in the audience. However, it was deflected by the Middle Easterns to use it on their content platform. Where he then tried a second time where the girl wore the VeeFriends t-shirt that I picked up in New York City when he was in Cannes Lions to do another proposal. And then they handed a ring over to Mona Van instead. That's unethical. That's immoral, not just for me, but for Gary Vaynerchuk. The evidence of the court case was purposeful to let everyone know that they are knowing that my content is being produced. So they could have played out that they didn't know that I was producing this content because they never checked their this and checked their that. But they took me to court. That means that they knew all along that all this content was being produced, and they chose to violently assault me and to create gimmicks on my platform, off of my platform, to violate my person, And we just weaved in and out of the nonsense of what you were willing to produce. So I do want to tell you that this conversation that Gary Vee says about don't care what people think is a undercover op. He tells you that because he is asking you to be yourself so that we can catch more of you in this irreprehensible, disgraceful, grotesque behavior of you trying to put on that devil energy that you think you're better than me. You think that, nobody else thinks that. Shu Chu might think that. That's what he did to Josh Hawley when he was sitting in front of the courthouse of the United States Congress, disrespecting us to our face. However, you're not American, so you don't really have any say in what we do in this country. And a lot of other people across the nation are extremely furious, aside from those like the Danish people. Specifically, not the Danish people, but the Danish leaders. Traitors to their country, just to let you know. Traitors to Greenland and traitors to human civilization. Where there's a woman, there's an investigation. Where there's a woman, there's an investigation. Women are weak. And what we're watching now is legacy media turn women into bulldozing Hillary Clintons, which is what we're seeing out of Canada with that big heavyset woman that is barreling over. We're literally watching the Democratic Party in Canada. Our American Democratic Party, like AOC and Newsom, that's what we're watching out of Canada because you all did Zoom calls with Americans and people in France, which is why the Olympics were in Paris and why you invited all the Hollywood celebrities to go to Paris. But that was helpful because we had Tom Cruise and Gary Vee and a couple others like Snoop Dogg all undercover while we all watched Simone Biles and Mona Van violate the Olympics while you allowed men to compete. So you should really care what people think. And only a person with mental intelligence would understand that you care what people think. And then people like Mona Van, who are clearly incapable of any human behavior, they're irrelevant. Like Demi Moore's irrelevant. And you don't care what those types of people think. However, there's a healthy balance of a intelligence that comes along with not caring what people think. You just don't spread your legs wide, Bonnie Blue, and tell everybody you're going to hook up with 1,000 guys in one day. That's sick. You don't post on platform that you hooked up with 365 or 7 or 8 men in a year and then act like we're supposed to agree to that crap. That's disgusting. Sorry that you're feeling gaslit, but that's reality, not delusion. So she thinks she's feeling that Kim Kardashian hooks up with that many men in a day because she produces a provocative piece of content and those men go whack off. So that is her hooking up and that gives her power and takes away your husband's power. And it dissolves your relationship into non-existent. However, men are getting wiser to these women's visual assault. This is assault on men and women. Kim Kardashian has been assaulting us since the day she started hooking up with a young boy named Justin Bieber. And nobody seemed to want to recognize that this was a huge concern. And now look at how far that these sick-ass individuals, Kris Jenner, look at what you've done to this nation. Look at what people think and not caring what people think because that's what LA does. They don't care what anyone thinks. They only care about getting attention. And I'm sorry, but we're not 7 years old in the living room with all the family standing around. We're here in civilization trying to ensure that everyone is given their opportunity to live their American dream, not what you think your American dream is when you're a Persian or an Armenian. That's some sick-ass mental incompetence, isn't it, folks? I guess you'll have to plea insanity because what you've done is completely insane for you to illogically produce that violence while thinking it's positive content, merchant. You literally posted that you made what? That you did what? Oh my God.